line that he's putting up now,
Yeah.
it's because at that point in the game, you know, he's 1-0-8. Huni is 1-2-2 or whatever. Yeah, that's not entirely on Huni, like it's a team game, but at the same time, one of these is clearly better than the other.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest thing is just when you're 30, 40 CS ahead, later on, like, you know, you expect that to expand. You expect that to result in lots of tower kills, in side lane kills, in 1v2 pressure, in the ability to really open up the map and get a lot of objectives and advantages for TSM. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, we saw Huni in side lanes being able to take tier 2 turrets while the rest of TSM managed to stay safe and outplay Liquid's aggro attempts on them, but it wasn't able to turn into enough. The first time, right, it's just you get SwordArt's flash, okay, whatever, and then you get the tier 2 turret. The later time, though, that was when Lost got caught in the bottom side. So now here in this draft, let's catch up with where things are. Viego, Leona, Irelia, Gangplank, Thresh, and TF all banned away. It is a first pick Syndra for Team Liquid, and the response from TSM locking in the Azir yet again for PowerOfEvil, and this time around, it'll be Spica on the Xin Zhao.
So it is worth noting that the Irelia was banned out, blue side here by TL, so they may still want to blind Gnar, and we'll see if TSM is willing to go to a different pick. Instead, it's actually going to be the Jayce, so it'll be interesting to see what the answer is here from Huni. I actually think Tahm Kench is really strong in the Jayce. I don't know if you want to play Tahm Kench into a Trundle comp, though. That is one of the problems. Malphite, another pick that if people want to play tanks and want to play Engage, is good, but it kind of struggles with the same problems. You can look towards something like Camille and play for post 6. The early lane is very difficult, but if you have Xin, if you have the Camille ulti, you lock down the Jayce, you can definitely take him down in that type of situation, because largely this is going to be based around what kind of a pick, again, is Huni going to bring out. They do have some power picks here for bot, for jungle as well. I like Lost more on the marksman than I think I like him on mages in general, so this composition may just be kind of rounding out better here for TSM, but you're on red side, you're looking for counter pick, and now TL has 2 bans to protect Alphari on this Jayce, so whatever he considers to be the biggest threat is likely what we're going to be seeing getting banned out.
And as TSM have drafted their bottom laner already, and they see the enemy team with a capable side laner, they ban out the Ziggs. They're saying, all right, we don't want to deal with this. The permanent wave clear that will enable better split pushing elsewhere. Take that off the table. I like the choice there in that ban. Team Liquid will now ban out the Lucian. And let's see what the last one of the draft here will be for TSM.
So, it's interesting. Seeing the Lucian there, it's like they're saying that they think Huni might actually play Lucian top. We barely see any Lucian top, but if there is someone to do it, I do think Huni would be willing to kind of throw down the gauntlet and believe in his ability to execute at a high enough level to make that pick worthwhile. Again, I think if you're concerned less about the early lane and more about the combo, Camille might want to be a ban here as well, because it's very difficult post 6 if you have not blasted the Camille to deal with Camille plus Xin. Easy hookshot in, ult up the Jayce, lock him down, take him down there with the assistance of that Xin. The 1v1 is difficult. There's also AP options. We haven't seen a lot of it, but Cassio top is coming back, and Huni is one of the old Cassio players, one of the guys who is really comfortable playing on that style of pick. So pretty interesting stuff. The GP ban seems completely out of left field. Like, I don't understand that at all.
Okay.
Or, well, excuse me.
I was going to say, the GP ban is the first one.
I was looking at it reversed.
All right, all good, all good.
Never mind. So Nautilus is the last ban here, just the pairing with the Varus, and it's going to be Wukong. So another aggressive counter pick. TSM are going at them. It's a different matchup, but it's the same strategy, right? It's melee versus range. It's advantageous matchup. The early levels are not as good for Wukong as it can potentially sometimes be for Irelia versus the Gnar. It's mostly about the ability to all in, especially post 6. You can Nimbus Strike in with the E, you slap them up, you go into the clone, you use that to kind of retreat, where that's where Jayce gets most of the damage done, is you're able to get the damage done on melee champions as they're backing out. Your clone kind of covers you on that, and post 6, you can definitely set up the ability to all in. You can set up for ganks, not as effectively as maybe a Camille with the lockdown, but still really powerful stuff. But Bard, let's
Jhin
go.
Bard for Team Liquid's bottom lane.
This is really cool here. With a Bard coming through, there's some pretty low mobility, you know, on champions like Varus. PowerOfEvil, if he has a soldier in place, can maybe kind of dash out and dodge some of these ultis, but Varus, it's very difficult, especially if you see Varus charging up a Q, the self-imposed slow, you throw an ulti on his head from that position, his only chance to dodging it is actually a flash. So it's going to be a lot about the setup with the Bard, the pillar to follow up, this initial engage that's going to be coming through here from CoreJJ. You can expect him to be roaming heavily towards mid, Pillar plus Scatter is also a very good combo with Syndra and Trundle that allows you to set up on Azir very effectively. You're slowed, you're kind of held against this little mini wall, and you can nail skill shots so easily.
It's the same kind of a thing where people talk about, oh, Thresh feels great to play with Trundle because it makes it so you always hit your hook, right? Well, very easy to set up for Syndra to scatter the weak there. The one thing I do want to point out here, when we look at Team Liquid's composition, there will be a bit more difficulty in execution here because the front line is Trundle. And generally these days you're seeing Trundle go for more bruiser-style builds compared to like the pure tank build.
To add into that, so the possibility for explosive team fights, explosive engage is very, very high. I'm excited to track the top lane again. It feels like it is going to be the critical piece here for TSM. If you lose 2 times in a row on red side, counterpicking top, you've got to abandon ship on your strategy. You've got to try something different. So TSM feels pretty all in doing this for a second straight game.
Okay, faith in Huni it shall be for TSM. Looks like not a whole lot here at level 1 in this second game. Teams are drawing up the line of scrimmage. Okay. Santorin walking a little bit further in here. Huni knows he doesn't want to deal with this 2v1 situation, so he'll back away. They will be able to drop the ward down there in the tri-brush, but no closer. So we're not going to see any vision from either side so far on the camps. SwordArt might be able to just ward this Raptor pit here. I think he's just going to wait for as long as possible. Speaking of SwordArt, hey, ProView this game, the world of supports and the AD carries they have to carry. Check out that ProView in bottom lane to see SwordArt versus CoreJJ. Improve your own support game the next time you get auto-filled, you dirty Yasuo players. And let's see how Tactical and Santorin are going to start this one up here.
No Bard allowed.
No Bard.
If you're an auto-fill support player and you pick Bard, I'm dodging. That's reportable right there. That's griefing for sure.
All right.
A couple things to point out here as far as the item starts. It is Spell Thief, so very aggressive stuff here from CoreJJ. Mostly in competitive play, you see just like Relic Shield, you know, that sort of a more defensive route. Also, Longsword 3-pot start here for Alphari, so expecting it to be heavy trading. He wants all of the additional sustain. He's going to go right at Huni, right off the bat, popping a health potion here to absorb that E damage, and that is a brutal trade already for Huni. He took every auto there, took 2 Qs as well, I believe.
Yeah, Huni's hurting a little bit here on the top side, but as things are starting to get underway here in the lanes, Dash caught up with Cold for a sideline interview. Let's see how that went.
Thank you very much, Jens. Lucky enough to be joined by Cold as we jump into game number 2 of the series. Cold, a couple quick questions for you as we get underway here in the top lane. Very different looking drafts from game 1 to game 2, so I'm just kind of curious, what did you take away from that first game, even in the win, to decide to make these kinds of pivots?
I think it was pretty clear in the game that there was a lot of top focus in the game. That's kind of what we expected. As you guys can see on the screen, there's a top gank, failed. But yeah, a lot of top action. So we needed to change our bans a little bit to make sure we were the ones having the stronger top side.
Well, so within that kind of jumps right into my next question, which is when you looked at TSM, a team that we haven't seen play in a couple weeks here from the regular season, what did you pinpoint as their strengths and weaknesses that you could dismantle coming into this series?
I mean, without spoiling too much, I think it's pretty clear that the mid laner plays one style, and it's about the top and bot lane that creates action for them. So if we stop that, we should be winning.
All right, awesome. I did see that cheeky video that Jensen threw out. Game 1, he felt like he had to int just to make it a little interesting, but I'm sure you're looking for the team to clean up
He
play.
definitely tried his best to int.
He tried his best, but you guys still came out on top. Well, either way, as we have action in the bot lane, First Blood going over to TSM, I'm going to let you go, get back to your squad so you can prep up. From here, we're going back to the casters. Feel free to take off. Gentlemen, take it away.
Okay, we got to play here on the top side with teleports coming in from everybody showing up to party here. Jensen's up in the top lane. PowerOfEvil's up here in the top lane. Spica, Santorin, everyone is invited. Huni's at about 250 HP, staying safe for now. Team Liquid might look to make a dive here onto PowerOfEvil in a 3v1, but it will be a 3v2 with Spica sticking around. They don't want to go in any further and risk anything, so TL back away.
You know what sucks?
What?
Having to base with 3 CS as a top laner.
Hey, he got a green potion.
He did. That's true. You take those.
That thing heals you twice, Azael, or has potion value.
Wow. Well, this lane is going to be horrible from now on. It's really tough because he lost that trade so heavily early. Then Spica committed to a level 2 gank, so there's a big cost to that. Santorin was up on levels. He goes up as level 3 into level 2, and then they're able to zone Huni, who's already been shipped off utilizing their TP, even though PowerOfEvil is there to cover, even though no one dies, it's so costly to Huni. When you play this style, when you're playing Wukong into Jayce, the only way you get pressure is if you can threaten an all-in. And it's so tough to threaten an all-in when you got nothing going for you.
And the most interesting part of this is this now feels like the exact reverse situation of game number 1, where Alphari is stuck underneath the turret. He's 30 farm down. He's trying to make sure that he's able to stay relevant. And we saw him navigate it, and we saw him be relevant wonderfully. So now we have to pose the same task to Huni. Hey, this lane sucks, and you want to go next based on this experience, but we need to see the best performance possible under those circumstances.
I mean, it's so much worse, honestly. Like, the situation currently is so much worse, and he's also playing a champion that cannot lose gracefully in the same way that a Gnar can. He's not playing the range champion who can, you know, focus on utility, can build tanky early. Wukong is just giga useless. There's 4 top. He's gonna die. I don't see how you ever get out.
Oh, he's already stunned. CoreJJ with the Bard CC into the wall. Give it over to Santorin. Hit him on the head with the bat. Pop goes the monkey. And Team Liquid take down the Wukong 4v1.
I mean, it's completely overshadowed that Lost and SwordArt got a 2v2 kill. They are deserving of credit for that. That was first blood. And it's like, great job. You know, that's huge. But the problem is you're losing so much on the other side. There's a huge amount of pressure now on Lost to extend his advantage. He's doing a good job of it. Spica's down here, so they're pushing Tactical off. They're trying to create, you know, some sort of an advantage on the other side, but like, it's 1,100 gold on Huni. He has literally half the gold that Alphari does right now. It gets to that point where when you're this far down, there is no, like, outplaying. You just lose based off the gold. You just lose based off the stats. You're so down in experience, 2 levels, plus you have half the gold.
It's a red crystal versus Dirk, longsword, and a tier that's now going to start stacking towards Muramana as well. There's so many problems with this situation for Huni. We'll have to make sure to keep an eye on it as things move forward. Down there in the bottom lane, it is a pretty massive advantage for Lost over Tactical as well, with CoreJJ doing all that roaming. About 25 CS lead. It'll shrink down to 20 if Tactical can farm most of these. Yeah, he's got the dancing grenade mechanics down. Now up here on the top side, we are seeing a couple on my way pings from the side of TSM, especially once Huni hits level 6. That might be their window to try to make something happen.
The problem is you committed to early level 2 gank, you got behind, they zone you off all this stuff, you never even forced this flash, so even though you can put on some pressure, there is an opportunity cost that every single time, because Jayce is in such a comfortable spot now. TSM have no choice but to continue going there, but you're going to a losing lane, and they're going to try to just overload it, 3-man play here. They need the W cooldown from SwordArt, but they may just go here with Spica, try to stun him up, and we'll see if they can pull off the dive, but they already have tower aggro.
It's the whole squad coming in. Alphari's already dead. Lost takes the kill. 5 top for TSM. PowerOfEvil was approaching on the flank, ready to cut him off if he somehow got past the other 4 dudes. Okay, Spica jumping in now, but he finds himself in a 1v2. The damage comes through. Spica's taken down, and Santorin's grabbing the kill. Subjugate keeps him healthy enough to walk away. CoreJJ is trying to keep everybody alive and around long enough to take him down. Gets to the wall as Huni's now going to take a lot of damage. Jensen grabs the kill on him, and he goes on a magical journey. Very, very short-lived. As Team Liquid continues walking away, SwordArt's now in a bad spot, and it's time to bring down the hammer. Or is it? Alphari just gave him the Grubhub delivery kill of the game right there, 8 minutes in.
Oh, that is big for TSM. They needed to get something back. They have been destroyed on the bottom side. Jensen in trouble now here, too.
Jensen hanging around a while, does not find himself in range of the piercing arrow. Team Liquid with very injured health bars. TSM hanging around to see if they can get another freebie, but they walk away.
So TSM 5 to the top side. They are rewarded with a number of kills. Huni, unfortunately, doesn't cash in on anything there. Is still massively behind, but TSM know they have got to get Huni into a place where he can contribute in the game, where he can be a threat in the 1v1 and in the 5v5. Wukong has no fallback plan.
No.
It's monkey go forward, and that's all you got. So TL, they knew that they had Jayce in a good spot, and he probably could have outplayed a 1v2, but not a 1v5. Everyone coming up here, Lost even arriving. They get the flash off of him too. Then on the invade, it's TL responding, but they don't have their Jhin here, so there's always the extra members around for TSM. So the extended play, they get the initial kill. Jayce is coming back out of base, but SwordArt is here as well. They force the flash off of CoreJJ, And despite the low health bars, they're not really able to finish any of the TL members off. They escape. Then Jayce seeing, hey, it's lost on this side. He's relatively squishy. I can go in for this, but he goes straight into the stun. The E-stun comes through from SwordArt into the crash down. And when you are locked up for that piercing arrow, you are going to get destroyed. He dies again, but they're down on the bottom side, and they are pressuring here hard. They just can't answer the Jayce because TL is now supporting him. So it's counterplay on that top side with the Rift Herald.
Yeah, Rift Herald, you love to have that in these situations, trying to race down the turrets. You can see they've already got this one lower than the one in the bottom lane is, so TSM now both games taking first turret. Team Liquid should be able to respond rather quickly here in the bottom side as Santorin works together with Jensen to keep knocking this thing over. You can see FTX total gold there on the left side of your screen. It is Lost, who is the standout so far with 1,700 gold, higher than the second place rating.
Yeah, he's very far up there. Full 1,000 over Santorin.
Full 1,000, not 17. I trolled, my bad.
It's okay.
Counted wrong.
It's okay. You know, it's not a big deal. But he is very, very rich here. He is looking good. And we'll see what kind of an advantage he can actually extend, because it's kind of the opposite situation he was in the last time around. You know, he was not having this dominant game on the Ziggs. He is now on the Varus. He's in a position to carry here. He's already got the Muramana. He has a serrated Dirk on top, so he is looking really, really good. We'll just see what he can get done, because so much of the heavy lifting has to be done by him. Since Huni is like a range minion. He's nothing right now. He's got 36 CS post 11 minutes. He is just so far down. Yes, he got some of the gold from the tower going down, but he is still going to be incredibly useless and very, very squishy. So it's going to be a long road back here for Huni.
They're just hoping they can get a couple of good Cyclone pop-ups onto an immobile target like Tactical, like Jensen, see if they can get some sort of value out of him that way. But he is the same level as CoreJJ. There's nothing he can do about this. I would honestly take CoreJJ in the 1v1 fight because I think he's got more money still. Now they'll zone Huni away. He has no way to be around any part of this. So instead, he will TP into the bottom lane. He will just decide to support his team however they can, trade these turrets, fine, whatever, anything but here.
The problem is, you know, I think he's doing what he can. You can't try to stay there. You'll just die. There's no one on the top side to actually match, right? It's clearly a split map situation. You look at the closest member on TSM, they're down here. Everyone from TSM is down on that bottom side, so he will get some plate gold. He will get some tower gold again, but every time the wave is going to crash, TL move multiple members up and they zone Huni off the wave. So he's just not getting any farm, and all the experience he's getting is shared. So that is the biggest problem, but TSM now trying to make a play here. Two members are top.
TSM going for the dive. First Cyclone's going to find the mark. Second one does the same. A lot of turret aggro over onto Spica as Jensen teleports in, but he won't be able to find much of anything. Blast Cone is there to get him away if they need it. Curtain call coming out. Let's see, do we have the snipe? One last shot going through, but SwordArt does a good job body blocking that one. Pressure continues on the tier 2 in the bottom lane, but the tier 2 in the top side was already taken by Santorin.
Man, this is such a wacky game. This is not one of those game states that you get to really practice, where teams are committing so heavily to denying different members from the opponent's team. You know, TL are always sending members up. Anytime a wave's going to crash for Huni, 3 members top. Stop them from getting that wave. And as a result, TSM are trying to get things done elsewhere and really are succeeding. You know, they are up in gold despite the fact that their top laner is this far down. He actually has a Divine Sunderer now because he has gotten so much tower gold. They took down the tier 1, the tier 2 bot. He got gold and plate gold off of both the tier 1 bot and the tier 1 top. So he's getting into a somewhat relevant position, and Lost is getting further and further ahead here. PowerOfEvil has been getting a lot as well. And I like that TSM are just kind of accepting that they can't defend Huni and overloading elsewhere, making aggressive plays happen, making dives happen elsewhere on the map. And it's just become this battle of kind of like who's going to carry, because the golds are in very different places. You know, right now, Santorin has a ton of gold for his team, and for TSM, it's very much so about Lost.
And Santorin is that bruiser-style Trundle that we talked about a little bit earlier, right? Like the Divine Sunderer gives this champion a lot of potential threat. He immediately goes for the Subjugate into the red smite, into the absolute beatdown. SwordArt is the next target, and Santorin will be continuing the chase. He gets chomp after chomp after chomp. The ulti comes through from CoreJJ to look to set it up. Now, remember, TSM is still around with Lost and PowerOfEvil both posing threat. They don't want to chase any further, but Team Liquid earns Drake 2 off of that.
Yeah, Jensen lived with 10% HP max from that last Q that hit him from Lost, so narrowly avoids taking him down. With Huni top though, no TP, they clearly do not want to challenge at this, but a good job by Santorin, finding Spica there in the river, utilizing the pillar to get the pick, just commits the ulti, the follow through was there from Tactical, and it's just a nice little lockdown combo to take out Spica and get another kill on the board here for Santorin.
And I like how Santorin's not afraid to just immediately go in. He's thinking, all right, yeah, you're not an Aftershock Rell or whatever, but you still ult this target. Xin Zhao's tankiness just comes from being able to block everything outside the circle. The big troll with a baseball bat is inside the circle. You are getting beat over the head, and you have no defenses against it. TSM grouped up as 4 here in the top side river. Looks like they want to contest this blue buff that Alphari is trying to take. Team Liquid bringing in plenty of backup just to try to make sure they can defend their own objectives, their own jungle territory here, as the blue buff will be given away to Jensen. Don't know if we're going to get a fight here. TSM seems mostly interested in the Rift Herald, and Team Liquid isn't moving over to stop them very quickly. Now, though, we are getting those rotations. It's PowerOfEvil and Tactical clearing out the wave back in the mid lane. Rift Herald still with a ton of HP remaining. CoreJJ does not have the Bard ulti. Santorin just now getting his own ult back.
Maybe.
That means we might have what we need here. Huni taking some damage here as the curtain call opens up. Rift Herald down to 1,800. Huni still walking away with a 4th shot coming in. Now we got the damage over onto PowerOfEvil, and the man's already dead. Santorin getting himself away with SwordArt, now going to be focused down by everybody on the side of TL. You got to stun through the flash onto Lost. Spica's jumping in, looking to somehow kill CoreJJ, but it ain't going to happen. Alphari's ready to go, baby. It is gas, gas, gas. Pedal to the metal for Team Liquid with 4 dead for nothing.
TL get everything there. They found Huni on the flank. They destroy him. They even got the Rift Herald. Alphari was able to secure it and pick it up. So bad goes to worse there for TSM, who had been creating a small gold advantage. They decided to commit to this. They want to try to come from multiple angles. Huni's supposed to come here. PowerOfEvil's going to flank here. But Huni gets found out. He's out of the fight completely. So TL say, all right, let's just go at this one point. One side of the map has already been destroyed. They find PowerOfEvil. They knock him down. Both your soul laners are already out of there. Then in the middle, this perfect ulti catches Lost and binds him to the Herald right after it with his flash, by the way, because of how the timing on the Bard Q works there. It was perfect from CoreJJ. The tether had already connected before he flashed, so he gets rooted up. He gets taken down. Jayce takes the Herald. And that is just a disaster fight for TSM, but so perfectly done and so perfectly managed by TL.
I don't care what you said earlier this game. People are playing Bard after this one in solo queue tonight. Damage dealt in the last team fight. A big old donut for Mr. Huni. It did not work out for him. Meanwhile, Alphari is topping the charts. Top diff pretty massive this game.
Yes, sir. And TL just deserves so much credit for their vision around that fight. They had everything spotted. They had Huni spotted on one side of the flank. They had PowerOfEvil spotted on another side of the flank. They were aware of everything that was going on. They did not rush in. You know, if you just sprint into that Herald trying to steal it right away, then you get flanked from 2 sides, and that fight probably looks horrible for them. TL, really patient, really good team fighting around that Herald, and as a result, they're really getting very, very far ahead. Almost 3K now, FTX gold advantage. They are looking towards the Mountain Soul, which is going to be very effective against Varus plus Wukong. A lot of upfront burst, a lot of engage.
So I have to ask, we saw the attempt at the flank in the last fight, right? Like, you understand what the goal was, seeing Huni with the flash ready over the wall, PowerOfEvil coming in from the flank. What now do we need to see from this squad? Because Huni doesn't have a flash, right? You don't have the ability to go for those sorts of crazy plays. What does TSM need to do to win one of these fights? Because it feels like we're starting to go down that slippery slope where Team Liquid seems better prepared, and if they take another 1 or 2 of these, it's done.
I mean, I think a lot of it is to do with denial of vision, right?
Okay.
It's because TL had eyes everywhere that the fight looked so bad for TSM. I think their setup was actually pretty good. If there weren't wards on them on every side, then that could have been a successful fight. You have to go from multiple angles. You have to look for the engage. You're playing with Xin, Wukong. You're playing with this Rell. So it's got to be about the hard engage, but they have got to sweep out wards. They've got to have pinks down in advance and make sure that TL don't have eyes on you, or you can get peeled apart just like they did.
Okay, they've already busted down the mid lane tier 2 turret. They are threatening inhibitor before Baron has even spawned. Inhibitor turret is down in the mid lane.
Great.
Inhibitor itself will now go next.
How far do they go? Are they willing to give up double inhib at
TSM.
19 minutes?
TSM. Okay, TSM's just deciding to go for a base race, but it's going to be one inhib versus two inhibs. That is not a good trade of inhibs. Here on the top side, Team Liquid putting the damage into this top one. Need a little bit more to finish the deal. TSM do want to try to stop them. See that damage continue to pour on in here. CoreJJ has been sent back to the base. He'll be the one trying to stop TSM. Throws out his own ulti, gets hit by a piercing arrow, but stays alive with a heal. We have had 3 inhibitors now taken between the two teams at 20 minutes.
This is pretty crazy. The one advantage that TSM gets, of course, if they are down an extra inhib, is that they took the bottom lane inhibitor, so that puts more pressure on Baron.
Right.
Because these lanes that they lost the inhibitor on, you know, it's going to be pushing in here, it's going to be pushing in here, but you want to push out those waves anyway to get access to the Baron pit, so it's not as bad from that point of view. They are trying to rush down this dragon here. We'll see if they can take it. They want to stop the snowball to Soul, but that poke is tough.
Santorin's nowhere nearby. However, TSM under a lot of threat here. Spica just smites the crab, saying, all right, we're not leaving completely empty-handed. I got to take something. But they don't have the manpower to fight back. Even though the enemy jungler is only just now joining the fray, it will be Drake number 3, soul point on an Earth Soul for TL.
So there is some pressure on TL to be able to go to the Baron now, try to take that, not allow all this gold that's going to be funneling into TSM to just go into the hands of this Azir, farming up multiple super minion waves and getting super strong. But that said, they are more than far enough ahead to really utilize this advantage. They just need to now get over in this Baron area if they want, try to set up vision around that. Instead, it looks like they want to try to just focus on bot lane. They're taking over vision really in this entire section of the map. They're trying to clear that out, and they're trying to actually use the 2 super minion waves of pressure to just grab a 3rd inhibitor and kind of seal the game potentially.
Right. I mean, if you're stuck dealing with double super minions every single wave 22 minutes into the game, that's difficult. There's nothing else for you to be occupying your time with because it's so all-consuming. A teleport into the bottom lane to guarantee that the minion lives long enough to get that tier 2 turret. 8 turrets now, the count for Team Liquid 21 minutes into this game.
That's crazy.
They'll continue pushing up here. Baron is live on the map. No Drake for another 4 minutes. Team Liquid's push continues. Tactically, it's a little bit of damage, but the curtain call opens up. They will try to force TSM away from their own turret. CoreJJ goes on a magical journey just to make sure he's not caught out by Huni too badly here. Lost eats so much damage there. He's forced back to the fountain.
He's forced back to the fountain, and the supers are stacking. Someone's got to answer these waves. And this is the timing. This wave right here is when TL want to push forward and try to take down this tower, because they're going to have to see a response in mid, in top.
This is a scary version of TL. This playoffs TL is some sort of really, really mad, just woke up from hibernation monster.
The weights are off. They are here to play. They smash C9. They're taking down TSM. They are looking really, really good. And it's going to take something special from TSM to be able to claw their way back into this game, because Liquid does have full control of the map. You can see CoreJJ trying to escort in these minions. They're trying to threaten Nexus towers. They're realizing that the wave clear is strong enough that TSM can actually just clear out this bottom wave, then bounce back. And I don't think they're going to be able to actually crack this 3rd tower here, this 3rd inhibitor tower, unless they're willing to commit to a dive, and that would be very, very risky. So TL may need to just back off and go what I originally thought they were going to go for, which really would be the Baron. You know, that would be the more kind of standard play.
Yeah.
Because TSM withstood the storm, and that does mean that the gold is going to kind of close slightly with all these minions they're going to be farming up.
We are hitting that point. We're a little bit over a minute before all the inhibitors respawn. All 3 of them, despite the fact that they were taken on opposite sides, do have very close respawn timers. 54 seconds versus a minute 9.
He doesn't know. He hasn't actually checked that push. There's a ward behind him.
Santorin. Let's see.
Now he knows, and now you want to run for
Now
your
it's time to dip. TSM with a multi-man collapse. Yes,
they
he's
go for
tanky,
Baron?
but it ain't tanky enough.
No.
TSM with a pick, but all the pressure back on their base. It's not enough to go for Baron.
Yeah, they're not going to flip it. You know, that would be a pretty desperate play, so they're not feeling in that mindset just yet. But TSM, it's going to be tough, because one of the untold stories about that siege is when you're pressing that hard for that long, you lose all your vision, right? Like, look at this.
Yeah.
No wards in this quadrant of the map whatsoever. You have such a tough challenge now to get down here, clear out vision in all of these lanes, all of these areas, watching out for potential TP flank wards, and all of these things that you got to deal with. And that soul is going to be available in a minute.
Yeah.
So TSM have got to move forward, get vision, get ready, and fight this. Because I don't think that you can really come back against a Mountain Soul given up this early in the game.
All that pressure just becomes that much more condensed when it's in such a short time frame. 50 seconds now before the Mountain Soul is on the Rift. CoreJJ will continue just throwing out whatever poke he can find. Yeah, that's it, right? Get the primary engage down to the point where he dies instantly once he goes in. Guarantee yourselves a good setup with that. Okay.
There's some handy hunting fruit right there. SwordArt got a lot of health back. It's actually pretty important. But it's still 30 seconds, so they're in the river right now. Huni's trying to flank from the top, though.
Nicely done there. The root, the damage, the pop. Good night to Lost. And TSM will try to fight back, but it will not matter. Huni tries to get out, but no. It's more of the same in the whole damn game. PowerOfEvil's gone. Shut down over to Jensen. I'll tell you what, Azael, they might have just stopped the soul because you don't need it when you can march in and win the game.
The Nexus is the better objective, baby. They're going to be going down mid here. Spica trying to escape. They're pushing on all sides. They won't look for the end because the respawn timers are very short. But Jayce is going to be able to take this soul. They're pushing in mid. They're pushing in bot. They're going to TP over to the Baron here, and they're going to be starting this up. With Spica dead for 30, it should be theirs. And it feels like that's probably the nail in the coffin here for TSM. Trying to TP to contest, but they don't know that Jayce has already got it.
Yep, already taken care of. Team Liquid divvying up the jobs, making sure they're not putting too many guys on the Drake. And there it is, Mountain Soul, Baron, big team fight win. Back to back to back, Team Liquid is set up for success.
Nearly 8,000 FTX gold advantage there. TL are crushing in this series. Back-to-back games, TSM going to red side, trying to play through top, trying to really make their advantages happen there. In game one, they got a significant lane lead, but couldn't really execute in the team fights to make anything good on that. They had some critical mistakes. So they didn't doubt their strategy. They go right back to it. And this time again, Huni's trying to come from the top side here in this Honda performance play. Looking for the flank. They're trying to come from multiple angles again, but it's preempted by the CoreJJ ulti. The fact that Spica gets hit by the ult and Lost doesn't ends up working against Lost because Spica can't block the Jhin ulti shots coming through. The AD goes down. That is their gold advantage. PowerOfEvil is just getting burst out. Huni can do nothing on the other side. He only got to the Jayce, and you don't win that 1v1. So TL have taken everything. The Flash is going to get caught by a binding.
Oh, Huni's trying to protect his buddy. He gets him out of trouble, but what is the cost? Spica down to a third HP now as well. He can disengage, but again, no ulti means no team fighting now for the next minute or so. PowerOfEvil stunned up as he tries to dash away. The soldiers can do nothing to protect their Emperor, and TSM can do nothing against TL. They will march into the base. They will smash these inhibitors yet again. They don't even need the bottom lane this time, Azael. With PowerOfEvil down, the wave clear is crippled. The damage continues to pour into the health bars. SwordArt goes in a last-ditch effort, but the only ditch is the one TSM has dug for themselves, and Team Liquid's happy to fill it with bodies. Lost goes back to the fountain. He'll go back into the fountain, and Team Liquid takes the second game.
The ace to finish it off. Team Liquid are cruising, absolutely destroying TSM in these first two games. That second one did not feel close. They got everything. Huni was dominated through the team effort of Team Liquid in the top lane. Alphari, the early levels, his laning was incredible. He put Huni low, and then it's Team Liquid. It's a group effort to really hammer home that advantage constantly. Every time the wave was going to crash, there's three members top. They're zoning Huni off the wave. If the Wukong can't threaten the all-in, the Wukong cannot play the game. And that is what we saw from Huni. Not only that, but even though TSM created great bot lane advantages, I mean, they got the 2v2 kill with Lost and SwordArt. That was good. They took a lot of towers. They were actually up gold before that big Herald fight. But TL played better in the team fights, had better vision, better setup. They marked Huni every single time he tried to flank. They marked SwordArt every single time he tried to flank, and they just erased any chance that TSM had to really make their comp work. And this is a TL that just looks terrifying through 2 series against 2 of our best teams.
That's what I'm saying, is this Team Liquid, the preparation and the coordination, which are 2 of the areas that we find ourselves criticizing a lot when teams drop the ball with a lead or don't respond properly after they get thrown a curveball. Team Liquid seems to be lined up and ready to go. They did their homework. They even did the extra credit questions. And you know what? They are passing with flying colors right now. And it's TSM who's got to find some kind of an answer.
The drawing board.
Team Liquid take us to match point. And on the other side of this break, the State Farm analyst desk are breaking